I suppose this is how you get things done. This is a citizen-led campaign to put up billboards across the nation to raise awareness for the cost of living crisis due to immigration. Now, the National Post is writing about this poll that came out recently. 60% of Canadians say Canada is admitting too many immigrants. Wow, shocker. The proportion of Canadians who feel Canada is admitting too many immigrants is the highest on record this century. Absolutely crazy news if you have been living under a rock, but if you've been living in the country and noticed the rising cost of living and all the newcomers coming in, perhaps there's a correlation there. But hey, the pollsters can't seem to figure this out. Now, the new Ledger poll was conducted from July 12th to July 15th. The percentage saying that there are too many newcomers, new immigrants, is 60%. It's the highest that the pollster has seen in this century and is more than double the 28% who felt that way about the federal citizenship and immigration survey back in 2006 when they last conducted this, I guess. But this is where we're at. Canadians are growing increasingly uneasy with the number of new immigrants coming to the country, with 3 out of 5 people saying there are too many, the highest rate of dissatisfaction with Canada's immigration policies in decades, according to a new poll. And this is, well, we've got the Century Initiative and all this stuff where the government wants to bring in, literally, they actually want to bring in, they want to top the number to 100 million people. We were just hit 40 million last year. We hit 41 million this year. And I think we're on track to hit 42 million before the year is out. 60% of Canadians, adults surveyed in the July poll, said Canada accepts too many newcomers, a 10 percentage point increase in the number who shared that sentiment in February. Now, it's the housing crisis, and this is what a lot of people, this is what's crazy about this. So, written in the article, the housing crisis and economic worries are a driving dramatic shift in attitudes over immigration numbers that emerged in the aftermath of the pandemic, said Jack Jedwab, the president of the Association of Canadian Studies. Immigration is also moving to the top of the national political agendas in the US and many parts of Europe. Why would that be? Perhaps there's giant numbers, astronomically larger numbers than there ever has been. And I don't think Canadians are insulated from these global debates. Now, later in the article, which just always, it never ceases to amaze me, that they always try to throw the blame at something else, says it's difficult to tease out, but in the one test of a possible correlation between global conflicts and changing attitudes towards immigration, some 3 in 4 people who strongly supported the police's dismantling of Israeli or anti-Israel encampments at McGill University this summer believe that there are too many immigrants coming to Canada. Correlation does not always equal causation. You know what? You know what is a very simple explanation for this? There are no jobs, no rentals, 188,000 homes are built, and 1.27 million newcomers in 2023. The math doesn't work. Canada is broken. Demand sustainable immigration. And this is that campaign. This is that campaign to put up these billboards. Of course, I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to be a part of this campaign, contribute to it. I'll leave that one there for you. Now, this started on the r/Canada Housing 2 post. Of course, it's Housing 2 because I think the first one got banned for saying things that are true. Now, announcing the Canada Housing 2 Billboard Fund, demanding change now, aka the Immigration Minister Mark Miller Sucks Fund. You can't make this up. People have a great sense of humor. There's a reason this subreddit exists, and it's because your views on what's happening in Canada have been censored in the media by political leaders and even here on Reddit for years. And like I said, they try to explain things away, even in the National Post article here. It's unbelievable. This is one of the only Canadian subreddits that allows free and open discussion on housing, immigration, and cost of living. Every single user here has probably been banned at least once on another subreddit for disagreeing with The government's targets are saying that millions of people immigrating to Canada every single year is unsustainable and damaging Canadian communities, livelihoods, driving down wages, impacting the healthcare system, etc. Well, folks, here's your chance to be heard across Canada about the state of the country. If you can donate to the fund, please do, and help inform your fellow citizens that they are not crazy in thinking that 1.27 million new immigrants every year is too many. We, the moderators of this subreddit, give you our word that every single penny will be spent on buying advertisements, billboards, signs, you name it. If we do not reach the goal, then we will return every dollar back to our supporters. This cause and subreddit means so much to us, and that it is still standing is an example of free speech and anti-censorship. Remember to share this with your friends and family across social media. This is what I'm doing right now, is putting this video out. So go check out the link to the donation page. You can donate anonymously. Make sure you check the box saying you do not wish your real name. You don't want to show your real name. Do not dox yourself. So make sure you can do that. It's on GoFundMe. I'll leave a link in the description down below. They should have used Give, Send, Go, in my opinion. They're probably, we all learned this from the Freedom Convoy, but hey, nonetheless, let's put this out there and see what kind of support this garners. Now, this is a real situation, though. It's the economic situation that's driving this, not some nefarious thing. And yeah, there may be some people that don't like particular races or whatever, but that's not the majority of people in this group. This is really an economics issue. The numbers just don't add up. And who else but Peter St Onge to illustrate this, what's happening in Canada?
Canada's standard of living is on track for its worst decline in 40 years, according to a new study by Canada's Fraser Institute. The study compares the three worst periods of decline in Canada in the last 40 years, that's 1989, 2008, and today. They found that, unlike previous recessions, Canada is not recovering this time, as if something broke. In fact, according to Financial Post, since 2019, Canada has had the worst growth out of 50 developed economies. On the ground, this means inflation-adjusted Canadian wages have been flat since 2016. And it's nowhere near over. Canada's per-person real GDP is still falling. With a looming U.S. recession, the U.S. is 75% of Canada's exports. Canada could crash again before it ever recovered.
That's a real serious issue here in Canada. Now, I'll leave a link for that video, and I'll also leave a link to his article here. Canada's worst decline in 40 years. Peter St Onge talking about this, including the graphs and links to the study in which he got this information from. And it's, you can't stress this enough where we're at. Now, what he points out is incomes in Canada are West Virginia level. House prices are Los Angeles level, and Canadian taxes are halfway to the Soviet Union. It's not rare for a middle-class family in Canada to pay half of their income in taxes. And then what? Afterwards, you pay more than half of your income, more than half of what's left over in just your housing costs. And then what's left over? What's left over for that? Seriously, not much for food, with a record number of people going to food banks. And guess who else is going to the food banks? People who are newcomers to this country. When the citizenry of the country are visiting food banks because of an economic downturn, we shouldn't be opening the doors to other people. And the problem here is the fact that the doors are open not to doctors and lawyers and technicians and all of this stuff. The doors have been opened to entry-level people who don't have any skills, and that is just not acceptable. We can't continue this. Again, the math doesn't check out. And if you want to check the math again on Peter St Onge and his details, I'll leave a link to the Fraser Research Bulletin that he's citing in this, talking about the changes in per person GDP income from 1985 to 2023 and how we're in a 40-year decline. It's absolutely insane. So I'll leave this one with you. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Are you interested in this campaign? Do you think this is something that will actually work? Putting billboards all over the place to raise awareness. Maybe 60% is only the number of people who have been affected by this so far. Perhaps there are a number of people, they haven't been affected by this, and the number is going to grow more and more. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.